Hi everyone, it's Harry T. I've just got back home from a very quick impromptu trip, which I loved, and it was lovely to catch up with so many friends and, it was sort of meeting after meeting after meeting as well. So time does go very quickly in general, especially when you've got such a short window. But it's funny because, you get so much in sometimes, I think, when you've got a smaller amount of time. But yeah, it was amazing, and we had lots of fun. Sydney is such a beautiful city. It's so interesting how different it is to Melbourne. It is so significantly different, but both cities are so beautiful in their own right. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, I wanted to quickly come on and just share something about the Ten Commandments. And the reason I wanted to share this is my book is at print, which I will make a big announcement very soon, so stay tuned, because that's coming out quite shortly actually, but the announcement will be very soon. But what was happening was I was sort of reading the digital version that I've already got, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about a part in my book, and they said, that is so true. And I was like, well, the whole thing is sort of true, well, my truth anyway. But it obviously, resonated with them because we were talking about how people can coexist in the world and how, no matter who you are, where you're from, what corner of the globe you're from, there are certain principles that are actually biblical principles that apply to the majority of faiths in the world, especially from the Abrahamic faith systems. So the Ten Commandments is what I wanted to share with you, and it's in my book, and obviously I can't read it out exactly as I've got it in my book because that means I'm leaking some of my book before I'm allowed, so I can't. But what I can do is share with you what I believe the Ten Commandments are in simplistic form and how they actually are really central to Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, because Christians, Jews, and Muslims all actually share this common word, which are the Ten Commandments, because the Big Ten, do feature throughout all of those religions. So they're sort of the common word in which everyone can sort of agree in terms of living a life of morals and ethics. These are sort of the Big Ten. Okay, so in simplistic form, they are, number 1, put God first. Number 2, do not worship idols. Number 3, respect God's name. Number 4, keep the Sabbath day holy. Number 5, honor your parents. Number 6, do not murder. Number 7, do not commit adultery. Number 8, do not steal. Number 9, do not lie. And number 10, do not covet. Now, many of the laws that we are governed by in society actually stem from the Ten Commandments, which I find really intriguing because, so many of our laws, sort of do stem from, the Big Ten. And what I love is that these are sort of, God's laws, and the history, it sort of goes back to the Torah in the book of Exodus, where, the Ten Commandments were revealed to Moses and apparently inscribed by the hand of God onto stone tablets. And the Big Ten remained a common feature throughout Judaism, Christianity, and then also Islam. Although among the three they do differ slightly, the common thread of all 10 do feature throughout those three main religions. So I think that's really interesting to share that with you all because, so many people want to divide others by their religion, and sometimes that does happen because, religion and politics, it sort of divides people, which is very, very unfortunate. But really, it should be all about binding back to God, which in many ways is love. But those Big Ten are, in my opinion, a great way of living a life that is ethical. Something that is really interesting is when and again, it's in my book and I can't read it out per se exactly, but, when you look at the list, the majority legislate behaviours. There's only one of those 10 that legislates thought. And that is the 10th one, which is do not covet, which also means, do not be envious, do not be jealous, because that is often in human society what leads to breaking the other 9 commandments. And that's a big no-no. So I think it's important to share these with you. Obviously, they're very available, you know, in the Bible, in the Torah, and again, you know, throughout those three major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, these tend to run central among all of them. So I find that really interesting. So, you know, live a life of morals and ethics and, you know, always put God first. God bless, and I hope you are all keeping well, and I can't wait to share my book announcement, which is very, very soon. Bye, everyone.